5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we should be right now. And I'm just checking Facebook to make sure that everyone is clear over there. And it says this event thing always throws me off. It says it's live, set up live, but I already did that. Let me press live here. Okay, I'm already live. I'm not sure. This is why you need somebody sometimes to do technology for you. Okay. Let me just check one more thing. We're a little early still anyway. I gave myself this time to make
Yeah.
sure we
Um,
were live on all the platforms. So if anyone is seeing us on any of the other give us a few minutes and we will be ready to go shortly.
I don't see it live on Facebook yet
Yeah,
from my
okay.
end.
One thing that's good is that we can always make sure that we can just post this and, you know, once it is recording, because it does show recording on our end at least.
Yeah, it does. And it should be live on YouTube and LinkedIn too, which I put the see the thing is instead of it just saying connecting streaming software to go live, okay, it's telling me that it's doing that. So hopefully that I
Is
think it might
there
just take a couple of minutes.
is there a chat message on your
When
end?
am I going live?
Okay, I saw a chat message. That's just from Riverside. That's from the app.
Yeah. All right. So while I'm waiting for, because I think all of them take like a few minutes, maybe five,
Okay.
before they sync. So let me just check. So I already did that. Okay. They really should just have a button that says go. Because at this point, go live, back, select. Well, Facebook, I really wanted to be live, but that may be um stream setup. I already did that. Settings, stream, interactivity, polls, questions, graphics, none of that. Dashboard. Um, I swear I already put in all the stream keys that were needed. I don't know what's happening with. I might just have to post on Facebook to go to our YouTube channel. Let me check LinkedIn.
Okay.
Okay. Did you guys do anything for Christmas?
Yeah, my mom's
Visit
birthday is
family
actually
on my end.
on Christmas Day, so that was fun.
Uh, Kwanzaa. You have Kwanzaa? Okay. Okay, let me go back. No, I did. I passed the live event. Here it goes. Pre-live. Okay. So, oh, well, it's 101 now, so maybe that's why on LinkedIn it just says pre-live, but it is supposed to start with us now. Pre-live. Okay. It still says pre-live, so I think it's just loading. And now let me check YouTube. we are live on YouTube. YouTube in for the win. All right. So what I'll do is I'll just post really quick. If anyone's having an issue, just to go to YouTube and you will see us live if you can't get us on one of the other platforms, because for some reason it's telling me to set up the software for streaming on Facebook, but I literally did that days ago. So I don't know what else I'm supposed to do besides they told me I should come here and press go live, which
Okay.
I was doing. It said it was going to automatically stream, and it's not for some reason.
That's all right.
Go
We
live.
can just get, if you want, we can get started and post it and
Yeah, and I can post now. Okay, everyone. So if you are with us live, this is the Share the Wealth Show, the show where we discuss strategies on how to build, grow, and protect minority wealth. And normally we're talking about either some entrepreneurial endeavors, and financial strategies and what to do with money once you accumulate it and once you start building out your either your business or your portfolio or whatever it is that you're doing to create that capital. And now how do you protect it and grow it and leave it for a legacy for your heirs? But today, in the spirit of the new year, and everyone is talking about New Year's resolutions, new goals, getting set for 2023, I thought it would be appropriate to shift the conversation slightly and talk about mindset, because you cannot build physical material wealth, which does help in other areas of life, whether you want to be a philanthropist, you want to help support your family, or whatever the case may be. But you cannot attain that if your mindset is not in the right place. If you don't have an abundance mindset, if you have fear of moving forward, if you have analysis paralysis, because that fear keeps you in your place, if you don't want to step out of your comfort zone, those are all things that are mindset rooted that need to be addressed, and you need to work on so you can move past those issues and actually attain the success that you're looking for. But in any case, today's episode is going to be about mindset, like I'm saying. And I have with me Thomas. I don't even know how to say your last name. I want to say Pasante.
of course you know how to say it.
That's right. Oh, great. Okay. And Ade, and I believe your full first name is Adekule, right?
That was a good try. Yes.
Adekule. Okay,
Yes.
Papula. I said that right. Okay.
Yep, you did.
Oh, but he goes by Ade. Anyway, these two gentlemen, I'm so glad you reached out to me and wanted to be a part of this live. But I want to turn it over to you to kind of give everyone a little bit of a introduction into your background and what you're doing now and how you got there. We'll keep that short because I'm sure there's a lot of mindset hurdles that you had to push through to get to where you are today. So I don't know who wants to jump in.
So again, my name is Ade Popola. At the age of 18 years old, I came to the U.S. as an international student, where I studied nursing in Cleveland, Ohio. So I actually graduated as I started working for the Cleveland Clinic for a while, and I found out really quickly that nursing is a great field, but it isn't really for me. Opportunities, stumbled on real estate investing, and people on earth really get rich or wealthy. So I figured out, you know what, I'm going to delve into this by using a strategy called wholesaling. And even if I fail at wholesaling as a business, I would have learned in real estate, and hopefully I would be making good decisions down the line that would be fruitful for me. And fast forward now, I've wholesaled a ton of properties. I own and investors know me in the Lehigh Valley area as being one of the best investors when it comes to investing in sourcing for deals, or when it comes to off market, and again, not just strictly multi-family deals. So yeah, that's in a nutshell my journey. Um, kid in Nigeria to a multifamily in the United States of America, which I believe is the greatest country on earth.
Nice. Okay. And that's one thing I didn't know, that when you started wholesaling, you were focusing on multifamily at that point. I thought you started wholesaling like most wholesalers were, like the single family residential space.
I did try. I did look into that, and very quickly once I launched my business, current business partner, Tejas Gosai, and he at that point in time was like my only mentor, and he told me, "Why would you even try to do single family? Make a killing with multifamily." So um, I did multifamily, and yeah, that's pretty much.
Nice. Okay. And Thomas, you want to bless us with your background?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me again, Nicole. We really appreciate this. So my name is Tom Pasante. I manage a full service financial firm in the Allentown area. What we do is we help with comprehensive planning, investments and insurance planning, and really just making sure that people, like you said, Nicole, are protecting and building their wealth over time. And that's really what our firm specializes in. Um, I've been doing this for about 7 years now. And I've also been recently doing real estate investments with Aday and his team as well, and leveraging them and just kind of getting started in that journey of creating passive income and creating other sources of income. And it's been a great journey, learning from one another. And I think what goes hand in hand into everything is that none of us would really be here talking about anything if we didn't have a very sharp mindset, right, and intent, and doing things purposeful, right. And I'm really excited to join the conversation today and just share, any thoughts on the topic.
Okay, perfect. And you know what? I had no clue you were in Allentown, and we've talked a few different times,
Yeah,
but I don't know why I didn't get that you were based in Allentown. So, anyone who doesn't know, which probably is most people, we have all three a common denominator here, and that is our market. So, Aday lives there and invests there, and Thomas is there. You live there too, right? You were saying?
absolutely. And our firm is a national firm, so we're kind of spreading out throughout different states. That's why you see that I travel a lot. I'm in different areas, New York,
Hmm.
Florida, wherever it might be.
Hmm.
But yes.
Okay, and that's what I was. My next question was going to be if you're national or not. But okay, so that's
Yeah.
great. And I also invest in the Lehigh Valley area, and that's where a couple of my commercial buildings are at. So that I didn't realize this was going to be a Lehigh Valley show episode.
Lehigh Valley reunion here.
Lehigh Valley reunion. The next time I come out there, we all have to get together. That's going to be great.
We should.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to that.
Okay, so I want to get into what we're all here for, which is mindset. And I don't know who wants to start, but I guess my question is, let's go the route of getting confidence when you were first starting in the area that you are now more of an expert in. What was the biggest like confidence challenge that you had to overcome in order to be able to push forward and maybe move through fear of maybe not knowing what you were doing, or maybe doing something wrong, or causing issues for like a client, because you both serve other people, investors for both of you, and individuals who have businesses, things of that nature. So where was it that you had to, where did you get your confidence, and what mindset shifts did you have to make in order to become confident in what you were doing and what you knew?
So I'll start that a day and then you can dovetail on that. But I think the biggest thing that will distract anyone, is noise, the noise around us. There's so many things that you hear that says I can't do that, or what, you can't do that, I won't be able to, right? We have to avoid and remove that from our everyday language in order to achieve things, whether it's, and think of this, like whether it's going to school to get a degree, or we're studying for a professional designation or a license, right? It's important to have that mindset, a tunnel vision mindset. There's going to be a lot of people that have opinions on things, whether it's family members, whether it's friends, whether it's people that you meet along the way. I know a lot of people, I didn't have much confidence in college in the beginning, because a lot of people said everybody gets a business management degree. What are you going to do with that? It's too vague. You're not going to be able to do anything. And I had to put that and use that as a hurdle, as a way to actually build momentum and to kind of prove it, if you will, put a little chip on my shoulder. And actually, by doing that and avoiding noise, it can do tremendous things to you. And by gaining that positiveness is something that is key to find along the way, and really avoid the noise. Ade, if you want to add anything to that, I'm sure you do.
Yes, and I think anyone starting a new venture, one of the biggest issues is fear of the unknown. You've never been there. You also really do not know what the idea of success. So everything hits harder. You know, what what would actually be success may appear to be failure for you. Just so again, very early on, I got a mentor, and that helped me really restructure my brain and my expectations. What was possible. So I think for anyone out there who is struggling, either being new to entrepreneurship, or being in a rut, see themselves not as successful as they would want to I would say it's very important to talk to like-minded people and talk to people because they have probably been through all of these issues you've been through, and and they would also help you cut through the noise too. Everyone else around you is saying, do this, do that, do it this way, do it that way. You can talk to someone who is successful, and that person can show you the shortest pathway to success. I think that's very big. I think it's one of the easiest ways you could ever pathways you could use to achieving that mindset shift. Solo, but it's just much easier when someone is there to hold you through the way.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of those statements. Like the noise, oh my goodness, because I want to add in there that a lot of times people who are giving you advice are the people who have never done it before. And they see it as being risky, right? And
Correct.
so they, in their own mind, are trying to protect you in the best way that they know how. But that's the problem, it's the way that they know how. And that doesn't mean that like if they are not where you want to be, then the way that they know is probably not the way you want to follow, right?
Right.
And agreeing with Ade on mentorship and guidance and having a community, like you like you said, you can do it by yourself, but how much longer is that going to take you? Like, yeah, having someone that can guide you and show you some obstacles and help you like along the way, not that they're going to do the work for you, but they can at least kind of steer you in the right direction so you're not climbing up the ladder on the
Right.
wrong wall kind of scenario.
Sure.
um, yeah. Do any of you guys either have like specific examples you can remember where you either had to block out somebody telling you something negative like noise, or when you tried to do something without guidance or mentor versus when you tried to do it with, and what the differences were, or any example for either of those?
Well, when it comes to noise, I think that's every day, in the business. If you think about it, for financial services, right? I mean, how many commercials do you see online, or commercials do you see on TV of, different companies, right? And it could be something where people say, how, all the time I see it, I hear it from family, why are you doing that? There's so many advisors out there. There's, it's tough. People aren't going to want to make decisions during this time. How are you going to bring on clients? How are you going to market to people? Fidelity invest hundreds of millions of dollars in marketing. How are you going to keep up with these companies? And, it's all the noise. And that's actually, one example, right, is that in particular that I can think of. But I think there's so many examples that we don't really notice along the way. When you shift that mindset, the noise is just, you kind of forget it, right? And you don't really see it as much. The noise is more heard when you're not training yourself and you're thinking of those things when you wake up every day, something that is holding you back, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's very true. And it is a constant, it's not a one-time thing, right? That's something that we constantly have to filter out. And if we don't change our mindset on how to accept or how to filter that noise, then it's just not, it can affect us on a daily basis if we don't pay attention to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ade, you got any examples for us?
Yes, I think so often it's very easy to, a lot of people out there, when they get some success, it's very easy to demonize people who, at the beginning, with one goal, right? So even rappers and songs will be like, in the streets, right? Like that's very, very common when they become famous. But I've also learned over time to realize that that is true. A lot of times we don't get support even from family members when we're trying to get our goals accomplished. But on the other hand, is sometimes that's in a place of love, and sometimes that's from a place of spite. Important thing, we have a goal, and do we really believe in our goal? Do we really believe in our goal? And things hit twice, we don't believe in our goals. So when people say you can't really do that, a lot of times we get pissed because we don't even believe we can do it. Emotionally and mentally connected to our goal, we know that when someone says, "Oh, can you really do it?" It doesn't hit that hard. We're human, but we are so secure in our ability to the fact that even if what conventional wisdom we call failures or as challenges and not, quote unquote failures. So just by that explanation I've had, I think we go through every freaking day. Every day we go through doubts. Would that client sign up? Would that client trust us? Would we be able to get another property under contract? I wake up with those questions every single time. So
every day, every day we hear people say, why are we buying that property? This is a horrible time. Do you know what's going to happen to the stock market? It's going to be like 08 again. And you guys are, it's noise. Yeah. It's noise, it's just noise.
I think
oh my God.
I honestly think the biggest thing is looking within. The biggest noise will be in our own heads and not from our mom or our sibling discouragement from doing something, our friends, our closest friend. The biggest noise, the biggest self-doubt to be from ourselves. And when that is cleared up, there's nothing we can't achieve. And we would achieve that much more seamlessly than we have just much less confidence in ourselves.
Man, that, I don't know about everybody else, but that hit deep to me because, sometimes you're in the moment of doing something that you are unsure of or you're scared of, or is new. And you're honestly not growing unless you're pushing yourself to do something new. So you'll never be an expert in all areas, right? No one can ever study enough to know everything. You have to be a constant student, right? So if you are growing, then you are pushing yourself and doing things that you are uncomfortable with. How do you, because it's really hard, right? To do something that you don't know about and you might fail and people might look at you. There's a lot of people who are very cautious about what other people think of them, right? And if they, try this new thing and it fails, then it's like, I know they're thinking, I know, you shouldn't have did that. I told you shouldn't do that. Like, but how do you guys handle pushing through uncomfortability, like getting out of your comfort zone?
So Ade, I just want to say with that, why don't we start by talking about our mindset coaching and lectures that we work on daily as part of how to get around these obstacles like you're mentioning. You want to
Yes,
touch a little bit on that today?
yes. I mentorship in every aspect. I run a business, and I have mentors when it comes to marketing and mindset. And and one of the major things we were taught, set a goal. Like the biggest thing really is set that would push you past your comfort zone. There are three types of goals, right? There's an A type goal. So if I drive a Ferrari and I want to buy the most recent Ferrari tomorrow, like that's an A type goal. It's not really pushing me to become a better version of myself, right? It's just an horizontal kind of goal. A B type, it's you're reaching a little bit higher. You know where you want to get to, and you also know how. I'm just gonna hire one other virtual assistant, and I'm gonna get much more done. I'm going to get personal assistant, and I can get much done. I can. The A type goal is or the C type goal is the kind of goal that I would encourage everyone to actually set, which is the kind of goal where you. And the reason for this kind of goal is it makes you reach much further and become a virtual. Jeff once said his mentor told him to set a goal to make $1 million a year, and not because of the monetary value, but because to make him become a much better person. So that's what I and Tom always strive to do. Tom, help me out when it comes to one of my which is talking to clients on the phone. Tom would be like, "What a person," and Tom doesn't have any core reluctance. In that situation, Tom has been my mentor because I would always like be a little bit, he's gonna say something, he's gonna say I'm bothering him. He's going to a salesman. So that fear of judgment, I've learned that we have one life to live, and if we can't maximize our time on earth, that is the truth. And in that aspect of beings, I definitely had core reluctance, and I have much now because of Tom's guidance. Tom doesn't give. I don't want to use the curse word, right? Tom doesn't care. Tom doesn't care what anyone thinks. He goes after it. He sets a goal, and it keeps the blinders on, and it's just going straightforward. So I think you can explain to us also how you get it done. So
that took time to develop that through failure, really, right? Is through trial and error is the best way to grow as an individual. Another way to really grow as an individual, like we said, is to have some mentors or to have, training and development. We spend a lot of money, right, a day on developing ourselves. And really every entrepreneur, if you think of it, the best investment is in yourself. Okay. You always have to continue to develop your mind and be open-minded to new strategies and ways and tactics in order to do things, in order to achieve goals. No, it's not people around us that are doing the same thing as us is not our competition. We're all in this together. We're all here to learn. That's part of why Nicole has this Mindset Mastery series going on and her podcast. It's because we all are here for one another. So I think that just factors into a lot of things is the trial and error over time and having a systematic way to train your mind and learn, whether that's through coaches or watching videos or being in a room with 50 other people that have done and failed 20 times more you have.
Yeah. We are all programmed, right? We're programmed by our parents, our environments, genetics, and a lot of times we are not to adequate and obstacles that come our way every single day. And how do you?
It's the social environment, right, Ade? The social
exactly.
environment around us. We can't. Yeah, exactly.
social environment, social engineering, or whatever you want. Like for example, you go to college and we're taught to be scared to fail. Taught to be scared to, like literally in Nigeria, we get whooped with a cane if you fail a test. You get very nasty way with a cane. It's so painful on your butt or on your hand, right? So I got into business also so scared to fail. So scared that, okay, in a week of marketing, I haven't gotten any. I'll get depressed, literally depressed over stuff like that, right? And I wasn't programmed in a way to adequately survive the business environment. So what I've had to do is reprogram my brain, repetition, and make sure I'm reading my goals daily. I make sure I'm reading the right stuff. I'm reading books. That repetition or those repetitive activities of what I want my brain to actually be like, right? That's what helps me tackle issues more often now and get through difficult deals way more often now, way more easier now than before. Before a client is, the deal is going south and I'm receiving phone call from I can't sleep. I'm having nightmares about this stuff. But now the deal could be going south, and I'm sleeping like a baby because I'm so used to it. And I fed my mind with positive material, with mindset stuff that makes me tackle today's challenges much easier.
So that whole conversation was just super on point. And the couple things I want to add is one, I actually, just as an example, I think we also, as we're getting older and as I'm not sure if either of you are parents, but with our kids, we need to start reframing how they think about fear. So now we're not perpetuating what we were taught and ingrained with our social environment, as we were young. So I heard that Sarah Blakely, the lady who founded Spanx, and I'm not sure, I don't know if you guys probably don't know anything about that, but Spanx is like a huge, like basically a new girdle company, right? And it helps, like, it solves all these problems that they had with girdles before. So this is completely out of your zone of what you know. But anyway, the Spanx, she said at the dinner table every night, her dad would ask them, how did they fail today? That was the question. And who grows up in a household like that? I think it's fantastic because you have to come to the table and you have to be more scared of your dad asking you that question you don't have an answer than you are of trying the new thing that you might fail at. Right? 100%. And I just thought that was fantastic. Another thing that you said, Ade, is just talking about reading and reading your goals. And we were talking about like our social, like engineering and things like that. And I know I read in the book, I think it's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, where he talks about your financial thermostat. And that is where, if your financial thermostat is set for 100,000, you're never going to make more than that. And if you do, you're going to lose it until you get back down to where you're comfortable at, your comfortable level. And that's if it's 50,000. If it's $1 million, then like maybe you make 5, but you're going to end up losing or spending or being irresponsible with that excess because that's not where your thermostat is set, right? And I guess, I don't know if this is a good example or not, but he gave the example of Donald Trump. Like if Donald Trump is a billionaire, if he lost all his money, which he has before, right? If he got $50 million or earned that, like whatever business is, that would be failure to him because that's not where his financial thermostat is set. Right. So that is all. I just think reading, I've been reading so many personal development books over the past couple of years, much more than before. And you can really tell a marked difference in your mindset and how you approach things once you've been reading these books. So I cannot say like encourage enough on the reading. And I know you mentioned like your goals. Do either of you guys do like morning affirmations, or do you write down goals so that you actually look at that paper every day to like revisit and start your day in a positive kind of thing? Because some people, affirmations are and morning routines are a controversial, like a lot of people say that that's a good thing to do, but then there's a lot of people on the other side, like, I'm not doing all that. I just want to get up and start working. Right. And there's neither way is right or wrong. It just depends on what works for you. But I'd like to know what do you guys do?
So the funny thing is that that's something that I've been really needing to work on more to enhance and develop. That's something that, let's just put it this way. I went on vacation with a day, right? A couple of weeks ago, we're in Florida, and I wake up and instead of an alarm clock, this guy wakes up to lectures about keeping his mind sharp in the morning. The second he wakes up, and I hear it, and I'm like, "Hey, come out here and sit with me. I'm interested." And it's just very motivational, right? The way that a day sharpens his brain. I mean, he's really one of the most brilliant people I've really came across. Not just saying that a day because we're on the live here, but sharpening your brain, having a routine in the morning is very essential. And it's also key because you can create the wrong routines as well, which will do the exact opposite.
Right.
So a day, with that being said, because, like you said, you learned from me earlier, learning from you, I want to hear you answer that a little bit about the morning routines, about what you're doing.
Yeah, because I'm very interested in what Tom just kind of dropped. I want to know what lectures you listen to in the morning. How do you set that as an alarm? Like, we need implementable details.
Yeah.
so I think before I even go into it, it's important I give a background about, right. Again, like I said, we are truly programmed, right? As a kid, everything was taught. That's why kids see you do. If the kids hear you saying curse words, they're already saying it. Everything goes directly into our subconscious mind, right? And so the subconscious mind is what actually. Sometimes we know we need to do something consciously, but subconsciously we're not programmed for that. So we end up doing exactly what we don't want to do over and over again. We keep on procrastinating. That's a very simple one. A lot of times we're programmed to procrastinate. So we know we shouldn't do it, do something a second time, but we don't because we are not not to be procrastinators. We're programmed to be procrastinators. That being said, there are two ways we can reprogram our mind, right? It's two things program our mind. Babies or trauma. That's why someone lose a loved one, you are never the same again, right? Your brain is reprogrammed due to that huge collapse, and now they're going to walk out like crazy. Like before, they're walking out and they're changing their body, changing everything, they change them. They're programmed due to the trauma. So now that's how our brain functions and how we can program or reprogram it. What you want to be in life, and I know I want to be a billionaire. And I go down. I need to carry my goal card. I have a goal card I carry around with me every day, and I need to read it to program my brain and to find out people who are on the same journey I want to be, right? Because if you have a goal, you need to live like you've already achieved it. You can't, you can't be hanging out in the streets, drinking every day, wasting your time, and you say you want to be. It's not going to happen. Life doesn't work that way. So what I do is I make sure I take care of my mind. I wake up and I listen to videos several times a day, several times a day. Now I watch. It's a part of a program called Thinking into Results, and videos I watch like twice a day. It is not my alarm clock. I just like to I just like to listen to it first thing in the morning when I wake up. I listen
It's
to
his
it.
alarm clock. He doesn't automatically start at a certain time.
I know. That's what I wanted to know. How do you do that? Like, what app are you using?
No.
He's going to create that now.
Maybe we should create something, right. Who does not have a morning routine? Maybe that works for them. If that works for them, great. I'd like to see what the results are like. But just me understanding the mind or trying to understand the mind, the mind is like an ocean. At the top of the ocean, you see the waves. Deep down in the ocean is calmness. And if we do not have that time for meditation, for reading our goals, or for affirmations, we would never to dig deep into the calmness of our minds and our soul. We'll be anxious because we're living in that flurry of activity. mind. That's why people meditate. So yoga exists. That's why transcendental meditation exists also, is to be able to tap into our calmness and not just exist, the anxiety, self-doubt, and in the presence.
Okay, cool. And like this, especially you saying like the reprogramming your mind is only going to happen through repetition or trauma. And unfortunately, a lot of times people will not reprogram until they face that trauma and it forces them to, right? Um, and I don't know how we get above that, but I guess the next thing is saying if you're having, I guess, besides reading your goal card in the mornings, what other repetition tactics or things have you tried, either of you, or have you heard of or you recommend for people who want to start? Like, and where can they? Maybe you're drawing a blank. Maybe they don't even like they know kind of where they want to be. They know where they are right now is not it, but maybe like those affirmations. How do you do that and still and visualize? So, okay, this is what I really want to. I'm rambling to get to the whole mindset, and you mentioned your subconscious mind really doing something opposite of what you tell yourself that you want to do, right? I did have an example about that, and I'll touch on that in a second. But how do you reprogram your subconscious mind? So that's the only way is those two items that you're talking about is really about getting to that deeper level of subconscious mind, the repetition and the trauma. Um,
Yeah. Yes.
but is there, yeah, like how do people do that?
It's
So, Day, I just want to
yes.
mention
Yes.
something if I could before. So, let's think of one thing that I've been practicing and I've been helping, people on my team that I coach um, to think about is, let's say you have something very bad happen to you in the day, or something that was kind of, whether it was business related or personal related, and you realize that you were thrown off, you got angry, you got mad, you got irritated, it took your time away from whatever you wanted to do that day, right? Maybe you blew up on someone, maybe you were angry, whatever it is, okay? Take that situation, and maybe you yelled at another coworker, you yelled at a friend, and now you're in an awkward situation, whatever it is, right? Try to find something that was positive from that, or try to find something from what happened and make a positive from it moving forward, and pinpoint exactly what it was. So a lot of the things that I'm helping, people with is the noise around, maybe rejection in the business, or people not working together effectively and having issues, communicating correctly with one another, right? And there's conflict. Figure out a way to make a positive out of that, because that's really what it comes down to in life is you have to, if I don't know if you watch baseball or a big fan of baseball, but a pitcher, right, can give up a home run, okay, and the other team just celebrated and ran around the bases. Get pitcher has to forget that very quickly, because he has to throw another pitch to the next batter now. That's done with. Like, so you have to try to find the positive of different situations and as they come along, and that's just being more self-aware while you're going throughout, your day, and that's going to become more natural to you over time in the way that you interpret different things, including trauma. We already mentioned trauma as something. The way that you interpret that, right, is going to dictate the way that you know the way that it impacts you ultimately, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely does.
Yeah. I think a big thing there too is masterminding with people, right? Go. A goal gives you a clear direction of where you want to, where you, even though you may not know how. One thing about setting a goal is the resources and the people to help you fulfill that goal will, right? Especially when you are emotionally invested in the goal and you start to live your life to go, right? So when and in every aspect of your life, business, monetary, relationship, and all of that good stuff. And now you start to mastermind and be around people who have a similar vision. Now, whenever you think you're slacking, there's someone to pick you up. Whenever you think something is a failure and someone else has been through that and says, you know what, that's what you think is failure is actually setting you for success. Automatically, your idea of success and failure starts to expand, perform, and start to look at things differently. So I'll say that's a piece of it. Joining a community of high achieving people that you actually think needs to work will help. One's brain to achieving, getting different results. Because if I was to be hanging out with Donald Trump every day, man, my brain very fast, right? Because if $5 million right now, and Donald Trump is throwing around billions, and I see that what he's doing isn't so far off from what I'm doing, in billions, and I'm getting millions, I'm automatically like, why am I trying to get a million? That's how it works. I've seen situations where I was making, and then I started associating with people making much higher than mine. And before you know it, I'm already making the kind of money they're making, just because I'm associating with myself. My idea of limitations is expanding much faster than before, because now I know things that were like, oh, this is a big deal, it becomes nothing. Chicken change to some people. So like that starts to change with the people you associate with, because they rub off on you. That process of you changing your programming much faster.
And that made something pop into my head. So when you were saying that, like if you're hanging around someone who is like consistently and they're much further on the journey than you, and you get to see everything that they're doing in real time. I think the other thing that will become apparent is how many swings they take and miss, and how many times they fail and things don't work out and they go all in and it just keeps falling flat, because we, especially in social media age, and everything is instant gratification and all of that, we see the success, what we deem as success, that somebody else is having, and then we assume, or we don't assume, but we just don't realize or don't know or take into account what went behind that. Like, what are all the failures leading up to that success? You don't know what that person had to go through. You don't know what they lost. You don't know the fears and traumas and things that they've experienced to be able to enable them to get to the stage that they're at now. And I think being up and close with someone who is having success in your mind, or has a certain net worth or whatever it is, that will let you really see firsthand that, oh, they're doing a lot of shit that like I didn't think that they would be doing, or they're risking a lot more and they're failing a lot, but then they got this one thing that just hit home run out the park. Right. So that's kind of what I just automatically thought of thinking of, like hanging out with somebody successful all the time.
It changes your perception. Our perception of failure. Failure is a thing of, right? We have certain expectations that those expectations could be, and then we hold ourselves accountable to and we meet these expectations that are wrong to start with, and we call that failure. And that's the thing is, I've had a conversation with my close friend lately, and right? It's very, very subjective. Like, how do you really define failure? A lot of people just think failure is what you could call failure. Looking back would be a huge success. So that's where, like, again, the mindset thing is we need to realize life is just all about perception. My friend was laughing like crazy when I told him, like, even the sky isn't blue. It only appears blue. It's blue. It's our perception of the sky is blue. So if you can think about things like that, then what about what we call failures? What about what we call? Other people will look at it and like, yes.
Think of 50 to 60%. If you just think of those numbers, right? That's failing, right? If you get a 60% on a test or a 50% on a test, okay? Now relate that to, imagine if 60% of the people that saw your Facebook post, engaged with you, and you did business with them. Like, look at how perception changes things, right? It depends on what you're doing. In baseball, you go to the Hall of Fame if you get a hit 3 out of 10 times. You're in the Hall of Fame. You fail 7 times, right? It takes pitchers hundreds, over 100 pitches in a game sometimes to get through a game. There's only 3 strikes for each out, right? There's only 27 outs in a game. Okay, think about that. And that, so it depends on what you view as failures, right? And also, more importantly, are you learning from things when you do fail? That's the key.
That's the key. Learning. And that's what I was just about to say. There's a quote, I never lose, I only learn. Right. And I don't remember where that quote's from.
We talked about that actually before in previous conversations.
Probably.
Something like that. Yeah.
And that's the one thing. So the last thing I kind of want to touch on with that, when it comes to failures and perceptions, it's really, if you focus on the whatever happened as a failure, and you focus on all the things that went wrong, and you focus on all the things that you don't want, this goes back to the subconscious mind, and just focusing on all those negative things is just going to bring more negativity into your life. And I think Ade was touching on that earlier, but it's really like, and it's different than what people think, because a lot of times people say, oh, well, my affirmation is I don't want to do blah, 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 like, or, whatever it is. But even you putting don't in front of it, your attention is still on that. So that's still going to come, like, for the longest time, I've been trying to, anybody who follows me probably knows by now, I've been trying to get out of my W-2, or I have a plan to get out of my W-2. And so I always say, I don't want my W-2. I don't want my W. But guess what? I'm going to keep getting. Like, I'm not going to get the things that I need to get out of my W-2 because I keep just focusing on the W-2, right? Mm-hmm. So I should be focusing on the real estate or the entrepreneurial endeavors or the things that are going to cash flow and be able to get me out, instead of focusing on what I don't want. And I know I said I was going to mention the one example I had, and I guess this was from another book that I read, and I don't remember which one. Or it could have been a podcast, something. But anyway, listen and read about mindset stuff, and it'll start to slowly shift your mindset. But this example really quick was, imagine that your subconscious mind is like a 50-pound dog, and your conscious mind, like, are a 3-year-old, right? And you keep telling, there's something that you don't want. You do not want this yellow ball. So you keep saying, I don't want this ball, and you keep throwing it away. But guess what? This 50-pound dog gonna go run after it, and you can't stop it because you're not big and strong enough. And then it's gonna bring it back to you. And then it's like, I told you I don't want it. The dog don't understand what you're saying. The dog just knows that this ball is there, and you keep throwing it. It thinks it's a game, so it keeps bringing it back to you. And that's how, when I heard that analogy, I was like, wow, that's probably the best analogy I've heard on why your subconscious mind will still bring things you don't want back to your world, right? So I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought that's like the best example I've heard.
I think that's the best example I've heard too. I think that's the best example. It's like someone trying to get out of debt, right? And you just out of debt. That's the worst goal you could ever set, because you're thinking you're going to be right. I think it's also like it's seen as like, it's like a lens. It depending on how lens you put on, that's going to influence how you view the world. So if you're in the world of I don't want to, I don't, no, the more negativity, you're going to only see negative answers to your questions. You're only going to see things more of like the negative way. But if you have more of an abundance mindset, you have better questions of things. If your abundance mindset lens is on, you will not just how can I, you start asking questions like, how can I do that? Who can I talk to? Who can I pick up the phone and call? Who's going to help me with this problem? What is teaching me? The form of questions just changes, as opposed to, again, negative spec.
Believe it. And that's 100%, 100%. So, man, we've been chatting for a while, and I feel like with mindset stuff, the conversation could just keep going on forever, right? This has been fantastic. But I do want to wrap with the final questions that I ask all of my podcast guests, and we'll go one at a time. So whoever wants to go first can take it. The first question: Warren Buffett said diversification is protection against ignorance. Now, what do you think he meant by that? And is that a good or bad thing?
Diversification is protection against ignorance. I think that diversification is important, right? You need to diversify what you're doing. That's why people say have multiple streams of income. Diversification gives you options, right? So if you, for example, I'm going to relate it to finances, right? Because that's my field here. If you think of a tax strategy and paying the least amount of taxes, if you're not diversified appropriately, you probably will be paying more taxes than you should be. So there's a lot more benefits of being more diversified. It's less risk in order to achieve more typically. And a lot of people want to chase returns, right? Warren Buffett got wealthy from being diversified, being smart and tactical, not from finding the next big thing and putting all his eggs in one basket.
Okay. And
Yeah.
a day?
If I'm to get, some people try to pitch the stock market against the real estate market. I would say, when he says it's a hedge against ignorance, I would say that's a good example because you don't know which is going to be up at any certain point in time. All right. So how right there? Because we don't know. Right. Ignorance just by definition means we don't know. If you don't know your eggs in both baskets, just
Right.
you know, hedge against
Last time I
potential.
checked, two is better than one. Right.
Right. Right.
Two is better than
So-
one. Three is better than
And not in all situations. I could probably think of a few.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think.
Okay.
I think
No, that's good.
that's so, yeah.
Yeah, no, and you can even diversify in the same asset class. Just because even just thinking like when you're looking at stocks, you're supposed to diversify the types of stocks that you're buying, not buy all one type of stock.
Right.
And even in like real estate, you can diversify. Even in multifamily, you can diversify through geography on asset class, like build and all those other things. There's many ways to diversify within even a niche area. So, and like you said, is protection against ignorance. So if you aren't really sure, or there's some things you can't protect, like if you know multifamily, doing multifamily, but diverse because you can't know everything that's going to happen. Like you don't know market conditions and that kind of thing. But in any case, yeah, I love both of your answers. Have you both played Monopoly before?
Absolutely.
That's something I played briefly when young, honestly, but not much actually. Interestingly, not much.
Not much.
Yeah.
You know what? And honestly, I don't play it much either. Like the game is so long. Jesus, it is like 5 hours. I don't have time to sit down and play Monopoly for that long. It's like win and let's be done. I don't got all that. In any case, that you probably should. You can still answer the question no matter how much or little you've paid it. So, Boardwalk is the most expensive property, and Baltic is the cheapest. In your strategy, or if you had a strategy to win Monopoly, what property are you buying first and why?
Whichever one is going to give me better cash on cash sooner. That's what I would look at. And I'm not a big Monopoly player, but that's just the way that I would look at an investment like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say with the one with the best up, because some very expensive properties have no upside, and sometimes the cheapest properties have the most upside, the best value add. So based on that, and choose if it's the most expensive, that would be my favorite. If it's cheapest, that would be my favorite. So
Yeah. Well, Boardwalk has definitely got a ton of upside on the rent, and especially if you put some hotels on there. But for you to build up the capital to be able to get that sometimes takes longer. You could buy the cheaper property sooner, even though the cash flow is not as high as Boardwalk. So
Right.
in that situation with Monopoly, I kind of think it's more of money momentum, or the benefits of utilizing your capital faster. But in any case, either one, I guess, gets you in the game, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
I,
yeah,
I
I
would
love
say
that.
I would say that I would say also it's like an asking price, because right, it's depends on the asking
Yeah,
price.
the asking price.
Yeah.
The asking price of Boardwalk is really high, really pretty steep.
Yeah.
If you haven't passed go yet, you might not have enough money.
Yeah, and the asking price is like, if the asking price is like the current value, like you're going into negativity from day one. So it's like,
Adele, you getting way too sophisticated.
I
I
know.
don't
I was
think
gonna say. I was
Monopoly does
gonna
all of
say.
that.
I was gonna say.
That's why they can't play Monopoly.
That's why I can't. We'll be overanalyzing every, like. Let me see the rules again. What's going on? What's the current
It's
asking
like
value?
He's gonna start running comp soon on it.
it's 25 days.
Hilarious. All right. What does wealth mean to you?
That's a big
Um,
one.
when I think of things that are generational and things that can't be taken back. You can be wealthy. I'd rather be wealthy. Wealthy to me means it lasts longer, and to me, wealth is able to produce assets rather than thinking of getting rich. That makes sense. That's
Mhm.
kind of how I think of wealth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
For me, I think wealth goes way past monetary. I think it goes to health also. I think it goes to joy, happiness, family. Those are the words that come to mind when I think about wealth. If I have all of those stuff, and I'm not Elon Musk monetary wise, I would like to call myself very, very wealthy. But the finances definitely plays a major part even in strengthening family relationships, because we see a lot of families even struggling, and because of limited resources, they just don't have enough money to handle their problems. So achieving that wealth, I believe, yeah, definitely money plays a major, major, major role, although it's not everything, but a major role.
Okay. Perfect. Love that. Um, Now just to wrap up, what is the one thing you need for both of you to take your business to the next level? Because you never know who's watching now or who's gonna be watching the recording. And where's the business? Where do you see your business going? In 3 to 5 years, and what resources do you need to get there?
Or just viewers out there.
For you personally, you're in your business. In case viewers happen to have those resources or be that connect or whatever, you never know. I'm going to encourage everyone to reach out to Thomas and Aday. We will have their contact information in the show notes once this airs, as an episode. It'll be out next week. But in any case, reach out to them. And yeah, so for your businesses personally.
Yeah. So I'll just kind of tee this off in a day could finish, but our brand is something that on and our marketing and the way that we're going about marketing, diversified ways that we are going to be using platforms to reach out to potential clients that we're working with, where we want to be 3 to 5 years be obtainable unless we take our level, which we have some serious steps that are in place and that we're working on. Ade, if you want to add on to that.
Absolutely. We've spent tens of thousands of dollars on marketing and on marketing coaches. So that's definitely something that we're working on, because we provide a lot of value between our businesses to build generational wealth. It's actually insane. For me, on the real estate aspect of things, to Tom on on the food, full service financial firm. Just so much value there that I believe we need to get through to more people through the right messaging and the right platforms in order to better help people. I also do think within our organization we do have a tremendous amount of time that we can better utilize to help them reach their goals, in turn help us reach our goals too. So that would be the goal for next year. I don't think we want to. I think we want to more than 10x our reach, helping of people.
Yes.
So.
Okay, great. I love it. Oh, so last thing is, what's the best? We'll have your contact information in the show notes, like I said, but what's the best way for people to reach out to either of you?
The best way is to basically, message us, DM us on Facebook. Information is on there. All of our contact information and our are attached to our Facebook as well.
Right. Yep. Same here.
Same for you, Ade?
Facebook, I personally check on to people, so you can also definitely reach out to me about, again, financial planning aspect of things, or multifamily investing program too. If anyone who wants to learn about more, also reach out that way.
I love it. Oh, thank you guys so much. Oh my goodness, this is wrapping our first live, and I love that it was with you guys, that we talked about mindset, because you really, like, I have a page full of notes like on my other notes, so I'll definitely be reviewing. And you guys hit some things. There was at some points you were talking and I was feeling like the Bernie butterfly sensation, like, oh my God, I got to work on that. Like, because it's always, personal development is always a continuous process, right? We always are working on it. Like you said, guys said a bunch of times that there's some things that we need to daily, we need to handle daily. So it's not a one and done thing. It's a continuous improvement process. But I just thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all your insights with us.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for having us.
Nicole, for us. Yeah. We hope that everybody's watching, is having blessed holidays and has a healthy. And, cheers to tuning in. And Nicole, again, it's our pleasure for being on, and we look forward.
Same here. And I need to, next time I'm out there, that's like a 2-hour drive. And I know that's not far, but it's far for me. 2 hours is a long time. The next time I'm out there, I'm going to make sure you guys know so we can schedule something.
Please.
We look forward to it. Thank you, Nicole.
Thanks,
Nicole. All right. Bye, everyone. And thanks for joining us on this episode of the Share the Wealth Show. And I will see you next time.
Thank you. Take care.